Hello. Okay, I'm glad you say hi. It means everything works. As always, we have the little box in the corner, unfortunately. Hello. What is this? Let me see. I'm curious. They just opened the... This is beautiful. It's open. Oh. Urpa. The beautiful fountain of Capitelli. Campitelli. Okay, so I thought I was going to be late, but no. Then I parked a little farther. Then I started walking, and beautiful church. This is one of the most beautiful church we're gonna see in one of our next tours. Look how beautiful. Because today we're gonna dedicate a tour to the Jewish ghetto, but everything around is also very important, which will be part of another tour, because it's not strictly linked to the Jewish ghetto. As a matter of fact, there are things today that we're going to see that are not connected to the Jewish ghetto, but still we will still see them. Hello Inge, hello Zina, hello Nathalie, hello Diana. Oh, look at this beautiful shrine. This is very neat, actually, compared to others that we've seen. Look at this beautiful view and corner between Via dei Funari and Via della Tribuna di Campitelli. There are two streets, but we're going this way. Hi to everybody. Okay, let's start the intro. Very, very important intro. First of all, today we're meeting on a Friday. It's a weekday, so more traffic, more problems for parking and blah blah blah. I thought I was going to be late, and luckily I started on the dot. Also, very important, I'm gonna repeat this probably a few times. For the next weeks we're going to meet on Friday at this time. So even next week will be on Friday for sure, and probably even in 2 weeks as well. So stay tuned. For sure next week is going to be Friday again. You know, sometimes changes happen, so very, very normal. I'm glad that you got the newsletter and you're here today with me. By the way, who is not part of the newsletter, of the weekly newsletter yet? Just let me know in case. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, we're gonna start the tour in a very beautiful area, which is not connected with the Jewish ghetto in terms of architecture, but they just restored this fountain. It's one of my favorite. I love it. And there are some artists, street artists, that are actually painting it, but I feel like there are many of them, so probably it's like a school or a class of art. Very, very interesting to see. We're gonna start the tour in a little bit. Actually, we may go a little farther, just so we don't spoiler immediately everything. But As always, you know that this is a free tour, and it's very important to support so that the tourists can keep being alive and we don't kill them. And so very important to support two ways, either with spreading the word with your family and friends, and subscribe to the channel. Let them subscribe to the channel, let them add me to Facebook as well. Also on Buy Me Coffee link, why not? Just follow me anywhere, so you make sure that you get all the notifications for the tours. And make sure that you also subscribe to the channel, and spread the word. If you can spread the word, which is easier than what I'm going to tell you now, you can support me by leaving a tip on both PayPal or Buy Me Coffee. The links of PayPal and Buy Me Coffee are below this description. So I know there's some glitching with Streamlabs because there's this box here that doesn't really allow you to see clearly the whole image. Unfortunately, I can't get rid of it. If the tours keep being stable, I will change to another platform. If the tours are not supported enough, maybe we will end the tours. But this is really something that I will study this month and see how everything goes. No pressure, because I know that it's not always easy to support, but unfortunately that's the truth. I'm gonna be honest, because I'm always honest with you. So if tours keep being supported through PayPal and Buy Me Coffee, then we can keep going. Say so, I'm not, but I'd love to join the newsletter. Carol, the ways to join the newsletter is sending me your email. If you follow me on Facebook, you can send it through Messenger. My Facebook is Miki and Adri Travels, should be that. That's the only way, unless you want to leave your email on the comments below, and I will add it after the tour. But yes, I need your email in order to receive the newsletter, because sometimes I may forget to, and I think I did for this week, to actually, I think I did. I may forget to post on Facebook, but you always get the newsletter, so it's really important to be part of the newsletter, okay? So we talked about supporting through friends, we talked about supporting to tips, we talked about the future tours, we talked also about the fact that next week we're gonna meet on Friday again. And so today we're touring in this beautiful and iconic district of Rome, the Jewish Ghetto. Just to make it super clear, but you know that already about me, I'm not going to make this political at all. This is culture, this is art, okay? So we don't want any interference in those terms, okay? It's just about art and history. Cool? Say so, I think we're ready to start. You can send me your hearts if you're ready to start. Well, in the meantime, I want to show you, actually, yes, because you don't want to see my face. We're here, which is actually something that generally it's not here. The face right there, it's Aldo Moro, which was one of our prime minister, and to be honest, the best prime minister we actually had. I mean, it was a really good guy, and they placed this to honor the day of his death. Okay. Hello Ronnie, hello everybody. Allora, vediamo un po', because I see that Carol, you added me, yes, and Christopher. Is it Christopher in the chat as well? In any case, I will add you after the tour, because of course, if I add you now, I'll have problems with the the streaming. So, very interesting tour today because we are about to adventure ourselves in the heart of this iconic district. One of the hidden treasures in the capital, and very small neighborhood, by the way, but it's very rich in terms of archaeological and cultural, also religious, also culinary heritage. It's full of everything, so you will see all of it. It's considered among the oldest ghettos in the world. It is second only to that of Venice. Consider that of Venice was made. Okay, Christopher, yes, I see you. So, as I told Carol, you can send me a message on Messenger if you want to be part of the newsletter and with your email, and I will add you to the next one. So, as I was saying, the one in Venice was made in was born in 1516. The one in Rome in 1555. So, just a few years later, and it's considered the second oldest by the order of the Pope of that time, which was Pope Paul IV. Let me move to the side. I don't want to spoiler what we're about to see, so just let me tell you that the term derives from the name of the Venetian district. The term ghetto, of course I'm talking about that. There's a district in Venice called Ghetto, with one T, in which there was a foundry, precisely ghetto in Venetian. So foundry in Venetia is ghetto, and that's where the name of the place comes from. And where also the Jews of that city were forced to reside. So that's one of the reasons. Another possible reason for the etymology of the word traces the origin of the word to the Hebrew with the meaning of separation. You know, the ghetto also means separating. The people inside the ghetto of Rome had the obligation to reside. Let the car go. Had the obligation to reside inside the ghetto, and always to carry with them a distinctive sign of belonging to the Jewish community. In addition, they were prohibited from trading and owning real estate. So it was a nightmare, to be honest. It was a nightmare. The ghetto is also the site of the Nazi-fascist persecution that culminated on October 16, 1943. We'll talk about that a little later. The day when the largest search of Jews in history took place, October 16, 1943. Thinking that was a month before my father actually was born. Now, let's start from our first stop, this amazing tour, because you didn't see anything yet, dedicated again to the Jewish heritage of Rome. By the way, before we start, who do I need to thank? Michaela, thank you for your support. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad to show you, actually, I'm really, really, really glad to show you this beautiful fountain. Because it's one of my favorite. It's also one of Roman's favorite. And it was just restored, not kidding, a few weeks ago. That's also the reason why I waited so long to start this tour, because I really wanted you to see. I'm thinking always about you. I really wanted you to see this gem. It was all full of fences, and I didn't feel like doing the tour without showing you this. Even though this is not part of the Jewish heritage, but still, I wanted to show you this. This is the fountain of the turtles. Very, very beautiful one by Giacomo della Porta. We mentioned him many times. 1588. Let's get closer. And as I mentioned before, there are many artists actually drawing the fountain in front. They're right there. We'll go there after. As of now, we will enjoy the fountain from farther, and then I will get closer for the details. So, a few steps from the old Jewish quarter, because we are in the Jewish quarter, but the actual heart is literally a few steps away. Surrounded by the palaces that once belonged to the noble Mattei family. As a matter of fact, this is Mattei Square, Piazza Mattei, right there. And here we have one of the most beautiful fountains, as I said before, in Rome. The history of the fountain is very particular. It comes from a romantic fable. Do you want to hear that fable? I'm sure you wanted to hear that. So, according to the legend, the Duke Mattei, a gambler, lost his entire family fortune in one fell swoop. The future father-in-law therefore refused to give him his daughter in marriage. And in response, the Duke had this magnificent artwork built in one single night. In one single night. The following day, he invited his betrothed and her father to the palace to show them the fountain. Okay, sorry, I was saying hi to a friend of mine that is in the same neighborhood. Anyways, as I was saying, he invited him to the palace, which is the one in front, right, this one. And then he exclaimed, "This is what a penniless Mattei can accomplish in just a few hours," because he literally did it in one single night. And the marriage thus took place, but the Duke had the window walled up so that no one could admire the fountain from the palace any longer. And what's the window? The one that you're seeing right there in front of you. How curious. Fountain is very rich in terms of decoration. My friend is here because he's about to start a tour. Just a live one. I'm on a virtual one with you. So the fountain is rich in decorations in polychrome marble. 4 bronze children are riding dolphins on shell-shaped tanks. And from 1658, the play with turtles added to the fountain were added by Gian Lorenzo Bernini. So the turtles that you see on top were not there before. You see these ones, this and this. And these are the 4 guys riding the on top of it. You see the dolphin here? Dolphin, the guys. And then the 4 turtles on top. Look how neat and beautiful it was. Just restored right now. And he's actually my friend is doing a free tour, so it's always like he's supported by the tips, but this time tips are live. Same concept. Sometimes I have those tours. Anyways, but I have my followers like you, so I need to keep those alive as well. Nice fountain, very, very beautiful fountain. I agree. I'm glad we are allowed today here. So, before we move on, I want to talk to you about the Stolpersteine. I don't know if you ever heard of that term, Stolpersteine. Stolpersteine, actually, we should say, because it's a German word. And probably Michaela knows, right? Stolpersteine, which literally means stumbling block. Right, Michaela? Well, this is the first Stolpersteine we noticed today, but I'm gonna show you more as we move on. This one, I'll stay here for a few seconds so you can take a picture. And as we keep seeing around, I'll tell you more about this in a bit. I'm going to tell you more about this stumbling stock in a bit. But before, so that in a way that I arouse a little bit your curiosity about that cobblestone, but I'll tell you more about it later. This is the other view of the fountain. You know, of course you know. And these are the artists that are trying to draw the fountain in front, because again it was just restored, so it's just beautiful to admire it and also to draw it. Let's see if we can see some of the works here. Wow, so beautiful. So for example, this lady is doing just one guy, you see. I love to take a picture, but I can't because I'm on a tour, so I'll probably come back later for that. Look how beautiful these paintings are. Okay, and then we move to this side because this is the day today is a little not that sunny though, but still, as you see, the sky is like that's okay, it's holding up. This is in front of you, it's Palazzo Costaguti, and you can read the sign right there, Costaguti, the name of the family that lived here. Constructed in the 16th century, very important palace, and purchased by the Costaguti family in the same century. Sorry, I'm checking for the cars not to hit me. Okay. The Marquis of this family, the Marquis Costaguti, and his wife Giulia Florio lived here in the 20th century. At dawn on October 16, 1943, which is the date I mentioned before, you remember, the biggest search of Jews? Well, on that day, the Jewish quarter was surrounded by German patrols. Yes, they're all over Europe, and I'm going to tell you more about it in a few seconds, but you're right, Inga, you're right. And so again, it was all the neighborhood was surrounded by the German patrols, and dozens of families were brutally thrown out of their homes. Some of them managed to escape, fortunately, and ask for help, and others couldn't. But some of them asked for help just by knocking at the door we have in front, at the door of Palazzo Costaguti, Costaguti Palace, which had a secondary entrance in an alley of the ghetto, so on the nearby alley, which we'll get into in a bit. When the Nazi officers realized that about 20 families were missing from the roll call, they searched the alleys furiously. In this regard, and allow me to do this, I would like to read the words of the Marquise Costaguti's daughter, who, by the way, recently passed away. So let me get the paper that I prepared in advance. Just a second. Okay. Because I feel like by reading her words, will give also to her more sense, more the feeling and the vibe of that time. So, and she said, a Nazi officer knocked imperiously on the door of the palace. A whole handful of Nazis arrived and kept knocking more and more. Achilles, my father, dressed in full regalia. He wore his boots and the high uniform of the fascist militia. He opened only after several minutes, and with an authoritative manner showed annoyed, almost offended. Fearlessly he intimated to them to leave and not to disturb the sleep of a hierarch's family. There was a little hesitation, then silence. A clash of glances as sharp as blades. Then without a word, the officer turned on his heels and disappeared into the darkness, followed by his men. If the Germans had decided to go back and inspect the building, they would all be dead. My family and all their protected ones. These are the touching words of the Marquis' daughter. Today, the names, and hopefully you appreciated it, the little extract. The name, by the way, the names of Achille Costaguti and Giulia Florio, the Marquis and his wife, are remembered in the famous Ritus Among the Nations garden in Jerusalem. Why? For opening their palace in Rome to offer refuge to many Roman Jews. By the way, the Ritus Among the Nations garden in Jerusalem is a garden dedicated to the people that were not Jewish but still helped the Jewish. So that's why I'm mentioning that garden. Just showing you the whole building. And now we're finally adventuring ourselves into the neighborhood, and this is so typical and beautiful with so many shops and stores, and here is where we'll see most of the Stolpersteine, which I mentioned a little before, as again Stolpersteine is stumbling block in German. Let's recall, by the way, that, and these are some already. These are some of the Stolpersteine. And by the way, this is one of the most famous one. It's Pizzichino because it's also dedicated to the woman that a breach in Rome was dedicated to her. See, there are even more now here. I love like during the day it's like full of shops. They're open. By the way, of course, that it is a metaphorical stumble, of course, in our minds. Showing you more here. Sorry for it's not easy. Okay. Okay, there you go. A stumble in memory, in history. Specifically, we're talking about a shiny brass cobblestone. These have been installed, as Ing recalled before, since 1995. All over Europe. All over Europe. By German artist Günther Damnig. Hopefully I said it right. Günther Damnig. It all began in 1990 when a lady denied that 1,000 Sinti had been deported to Cologne in 1940 as a dress rehearsal for the deportation of the Jews. Günther decides to dedicate his life and work to the memory of all the deportees, racial, political, military, and homosexual worldwide. A very delicate way to put his project into practice was the cobblestone, a stone that becomes a monument. As you see, there are more here.
Hey, speak English? A little. Sure, you want to learn a little history?
It doesn't even emerge from the street. It still becomes a monument.
It's such a big place that it has.
And there are even more here.
You know a lot of history on this?
You know what they are?
In Auschwitz, but I was looking more at that date. Arrested.
Yeah, they're basically the date of the deportation or of the date of death.
Assassinated.
Yeah, and they're all over. They're actually all over Europe, and it's made by a German artist.
Oh, really?
Yes, so he started this in
So
1995.
these three were from this apartment?
No.
Oh.
They're just randomly
okay.
located.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So yes, let's go back to this ones actually. As I said to the guy that was curious, they're randomly located on this quarter, and it's still, like as I was saying before, a monument that, without emerging from the earth, still sinks within it, and its surface bears the name of the victim of Nazi fascist persecution. The place where they lived, or where in many cases, as I'm showing you now, as in many cases deportation began. There are more than 22,000 stones in Germany, Austria, Hungary, Ukraine, Czech Republic, Poland, the Netherlands, and Italy. In Rome in particular, there are more than 300. I don't think we have ever done a tour in the Jewish Ghetto before. Maybe on Ego by another guide, but not by us. And it's a very difficult, tough neighborhood to do, because a lot of people have a lot of questions and stuff. It's not easy, but still, it's we've never been here before, so I thought it was worth to just come and show you. There's a very particular corner with some of the symbols of the Jewish community. Okay, it's starting to rain, and I don't even have an umbrella, and I don't even have a coat, but we'll see. Okay, let's continue the tour. And as we go to our next stop. Let me give you some curiosities about the Jewish heritage, as I'm probably getting all rained. What is the Jewish population in Rome today? Well, between 13,500 and 15,000 Jews live in Rome today, which, if you think about it, it's a significant portion, because it's the total population in Italy, it's around 35,000. So almost half of it is in Rome. And I think that life in the ghetto was very hard at that time, confined to a small walled area. The Jewish community faced many restrictions and challenges. Jews were restricted in the profession they could hold, often relegated to trades like petting or rag picking or pawnbroking. Poverty was literally widespread, and overcrowding made living conditions difficult. So it was not easy at all to live in the ghetto. Plus, the ghetto was the ghetto walls were really made the Jews feel isolated from the rest of the city. They were subject to discriminatory laws and practices, and including wearing distinctive clothing and paying special taxes as well. Now let's just pray that it's not going to rain. Look at the sky, it became gray all of a sudden. If it's starting to rain, it's gonna be a problem. But anyways, despite all this hardship, the community managed to resist, and finally nowadays things are a little different, adopting Roman customs as well as maintaining theirs, and obviously not living the conditions of the past. What we have in front, it's a beautiful fountain, the Fountain of the Weeping, which consists of this elegant, as you see, and long basin, and in the middle of it there's a pillar which supports a wide circular basin on the surface, which are carved 4 masks depicting, and I want to show you the masks here. There you go. There you go. 4 masks depicting as many heads of gorgons, and from the gorgons' mouths the water should fall into the basin below, but as you see it's not working, as the majority of fountains in Rome. Formerly the fountain was decorated with 2 dragons. Let me move a little. Okay. I feel like you're not chatting. I believe you're all concentrated and focused, right? Anyways, and so it was decorated with 2 dragons and a menorah. We know the menorah, the famous 7-armed candelabrum, and one of the oldest symbols of the Jewish religion. These symbols, however, were removed during the pontificate of Innocent X, Paul Innocent X. And this is called del pianto, which translates in English as in of the weeping, the fountain of the weeping, because of the name of the church Santa Maria del Pianto that overlooks the square right from there. And it's exactly the green door that you see right there. I love it that you're all attentive. And look how small this church is. And as you can read, Annus Domini 1612, Church St. Mary of the Weeping del Pianto. Right there. Super small church. And because of this, you're listening, okay. Because of this, the fountain as well, it's called the same way. Thank you, Diane, for your support. Thank you so much. Well, talking about support, we may do it now halfway, as I always do it. remembering you as always that this tour is free, but you can support it through PayPal or Buy Me Coffee. The links of PayPal, Buy Me Coffee are below this description or in the description of the YouTube channel. It's getting cold. Wasn't supposed to rain, but yeah, you can never predict it. And it's a lovely tour, right? Isn't it interesting? I love it. If you have any problems with those links, you can just message me on Messenger with your email if you're not part of the newsletter, like Carol and Christopher. If you are already part of the newsletter, you can message me to know the links. But if you already follow my tours, you already know which links I'm talking about. And I really urge you to rewatch last week's tour, which was Villa Celimontana, because it was beautiful and it was one of a kind. Always make sure to rewatch as soon as possible. So you never know if I'm deleting the tours or not. So don't waste time on that, okay? Now let's go back to the tour. Look how beautiful this view is. And by the way, we talked about the fountain, but we didn't talk about the square. This is Piazza delle Cinque Scole, square of the 5 schools. Occupies an area that in the past the ghetto wall had divided into 2. And more or less we could say that on one side there was Piazza delle Scole, so square of the schools, and on the other square, the Jewish square. The current name of the square comes from the building that gathered all the 5 Jewish schools that function here all around, which were the synagogues. So when I say schools, I mean synagogues, namely the New School, the School of the Temple, the Sicilian School, the School of Italian Rite, and the Catalan School, all Jewish synagogues. If you're wondering whether or not the synagogues are still in operation, well, they're not. They're not. After the annexation of Rome to the Kingdom of Italy as its capital in 1870, the ghetto was closed and the synagogues lost their importance. Evidence of them, though, remains in the basements of the Great Synagogue of Rome, that is in the Jewish Museum of Rome, which will be our last part of the tour. As a matter of fact, if I continue this way, I'm gonna spoiler, but I don't want to spoiler the last part of this tour, so I will probably walk this way. Never realized the German invaded Italy because we were friends. Yeah, correct. You would never think of it because of Mussolini and Hitler, but yes, all the streets here, by the way, are hey, say hi to me. You see me? All the streets here are, of course, named after Jewish personalities. This is the famous Jewish library. Ooh, I'm showing you the synagogue. Oh wow, I didn't even... Oh wow, you saw it, but really fast. Really fast. I was like, dun dun. Anyways, I don't want to spoil because we still have a few things to see. We're not done yet. Okay? Now we're actually reaching a very famous church, the Church of Saint Gregory of Divine Piety. Sorry, my bad. We're really walking distance. It's really walking distance from the synagogue, the church, so it's not that far. Which is also very close to the Fabricio Bridge we mentioned in our series of the bridges. And if you remember well, if you studied well, Fabricio Bridge is the oldest bridge in all of Rome and connects the Tiber Island to the left bank of the Tiber. Okay, I'm almost done with no spoilering. Okay, there you go. Now I'm cool. It's really cold and chilly. I thought it was hot, so that's why I left my jacket in the car. But yeah, looks like I was wrong. The church is the one that you see there in the distance. And these gates, these fences on the right are actually the one of the synagogue. So as you see, they're super close to each other. Incidentally, since the 16th century, the bridge was also known as the Bridge of the Jews. And by the way, is the one that you see there in front. You see this one. We've been there before, you remember? Here. No. And going back to the bridge, it's a little noise area, but it's fine. It was called also the Bridge of the Jews, as it represented an outer boundary of the old Jewish quarter. I think that was the only outer boundary for the whole quarter. And so that's why it was renamed that way. The first documents of this church, the one that we have in front, by the way, the church again of Saint Gregory of Divine Pity. Divine Pity, sorry, my bad. Are from the 15th century, but it was most likely built on an older oratory itself, built on the site where Saint Gregory the Great, the saint, was said to have been born or even lived around the mid-6th century. So that's why the name of the church. In the early 18th century was entrusted to the congregation of the workers of the Divine Pity, one of the many Roman congregations devoted to charity. In this case, the assistance of families who had fallen into poverty. The huge oval that we see, we can get closer, that we notice on the facade, represents a fresco of the crucifixion. There you go. And then a second radical restoration carried out in 1858 derived much of the interior decoration of the church, which, by the way, nonetheless retains on the high altar of a Madonna of the Divine Providence, painted by Hallett in the 17th century. The square that you see there, square Jerusalem Square. On the portal, so right behind the oval, as you see, if you can zoom it yourself, there is an inscription on marble tablet in Hebrew and Latin. So Hebrew on the left and Latin on the right. This one. Hebrew, Latin, right under the oval. And that bears the passage from the Old Testament, from the book of the prophet Isaiah, that rebukes the misconduct of the people of Israel and says, I have stretched out my hands all day long to a rebellious people who walk in way that is not good, and according to their own thoughts, a people who provoke me to anger continually to my face. As a matter of fact, the church was also the site of the compulsory Christian sermons. Very important to mention that about, in this tour, because here it was mandatory to listen to the Christian sermons. Roman Jews were forced to attend these sermons for a number of centuries until the mid-19th century. So not long ago, not even 100 years ago. And I'm still not spoilering because we're going I don't want to spoil the synagogue. All these little bars that you see are Jewish bars with Jewish cuisine. But this tour also will be, at the end of this tour will also be the start of a new one, of a new series. But I will tell you more at the end. Now we're approaching the Shoah Museum, which is, by the way, free if you want to come to Rome and see it. The building is from the 13th century, even though it has elements from the 16th century as well. As a matter of fact, this one in front, we can recognize some Renaissance and some medieval parts. I think that it was brought back to life by the work carried out in the late 1920s. How beautiful. To free the structure of the nearby theater of Marcellus, which, by the way, we will probably take a glimpse at it, but it will be the beginning of the next tour, which is actually this one you have on the right. You see some of the arches. I'm not spoiling him more because we will come here again in a future tour. These are some images. The one we have here, by the way, the oldest senator in Italy. Senator to life. A senator to life in Italy means that you are a senator until the day of your death, with no exception. But this part all around, this is one of the most important part of our future tour. The church behind, which is literally one of the smallest and in a very particular place, the whole area of the Marcellus Theater. We will be back here in a future tour if the tours keep being alive. So very, very curious area because it's the mix of Roman and Jewish Roman and Jewish heritage. Museum of the Shoah. A beautiful bench, Italian flag. So, as you see, as I was saying, the theater of Marcellus, which is, a matter of fact, is leaning against the theater, so it's not that far. It's like literally dividing, this street is dividing them. So after the restoration of the whole area, the building housed the offices of the Antiquities and the Fine Arts Department of the Municipality of Rome. So it was not a Shoah Museum from the start. But then it became later, since 2015, 2015, this building has been the exhibition site open to public of the Shoah Foundation Museum, which aims to keep alive and present, of course, the memory of the extermination of 6 million Jews. You see also here antiquities and beautiful arts. The foundation organizes exhibition events and conferences, promotes educational activities, also seminars and training courses, and organizes Holocaust-related travel tours in Italy and all over Europe as well. Inside there's also a virtual and interactive map which reconstructs the arrest and deportation that took place in Rome, again on the famous date October 16, 1943. And thanks to documents, photographs, videos, audios, and other contents, a user can navigate every pin, that is every place where an arrest has occurred, to listen to the testimonies and find insights for more information on current exhibitions. So visit can visit the museum website if you want, which is Museo della Shoah Roma, Museum of the Shoah Rome .it. So if you click on it, you can see, you can have more infos about it. This will be the beginning of our next future tours. You see part of the Marcellus Theater, but boom, 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 no spoiler. We are leaving here right away. And I'm actually not spoiling anymore. Actually, yes, we can go this way. I'm spoiling finally our almost the end of the beautiful synagogue of Rome, which is also called the Great Temple. The guy was almost about to hit me. Oh my god, he fell. He fell. He completely fell. They're helping him though, so no worries. But let me check if he's alright. Yes, he's alright. Thing is, he wasn't even looking at the street. He almost hit me. That's why. So of course. I see you're still very attentive, and even the guy falling distracted you. Good job. By the way, all these photos outside, before we talk about the temple, displayed on the exterior railings of the temple, show moments of the synagogue's construction, along with images of Rome's old Jewish ghetto, which, as we know, no longer exists. But sometimes they change. So at the moment they changed it. They placed other pictures. Generally, they displayed the beginning of the neighborhood, like this one, or like this one. Super chilly. No matter what, and I say I don't want to make it political. I'm not going to, but we all hope that peace will become real very soon. We're all humans after all. We're all the same. Even though sometimes we think we're more superior than others, that's of course a lie. We're all the same. This is the side of the Great Temple. Sorry. We're of course on the outside, and it's probably the most significant place in the area. Following the breach at the Portico in 1870, also the year of the unification of Italy and the conquest of Rome by the Italian army, Jews finally achieved full emancipation after that date, equal civil rights, and the possibility of erecting, after centuries of limitations, their monumental synagogues. The demands were that the temple had to be visible from every point in the city and built on the sites of the resurgence battles. For these reasons, also the place chosen to build it was between the two freedom symbols, the capital, the seat of the city council, and the Janiculum Hill, on the highest and most important hills in the city. So it's right in the middle. It was also decided to build one of the largest synagogues in Europe, in exactly the same place where the Jews had been confined for centuries. Let's remember that this is the second oldest ghetto. The work began in 1901, so not long ago, considering the history of the city. With endorsement of King Victor Emmanuel II, the Italian King of Italy, who granted in addition Italian citizenship to the Jews and gave orders to rebuild the ghetto of Rome. The synagogue was inaugurated on July 28th, 1904, so 3 years later after the beginnings of the work. Beautiful, yes. With a very great big celebration. It's a large building with a square base in a very eclectic style inspired by Assyro-Babylonian forms. The basement houses the rich museum of the Jewish community I mentioned before. Some of the remains of the whole East heritage are in the basements of this great temple. And I will go a little farther so that you'll be able to actually admire the synagogue even better. Because from close we can see some details, but from farther we can admire even the cupola. As I was saying, the basement houses the rich museum of the Jewish community. Look how beautiful from here. And the Spanish temple also, which is a small synagogue set up with part of the furnishings from the 5 synagogues. You remember the 5 schools that I mentioned before? Well, for the main temple, furnishings from the old synagogues were recovered, while the decoration was entrusted to the leading Art Nouveau artist of the time. We also noticed some stained glasses there, the 3 big windows you see there in the middle, in the center. They are by Piccherini. The paintings are by Domenico Bruschi, and the interior is richly decorated with Oriental motifs. You can look up on Google some of the inside, the Great Temple inside on Google, and you will notice what I'm telling you. The bima, is in Art Nouveau style and is enhanced by a precious pipe organ built in 1904 by the Rieger brothers. Today the synagogue can be visited from Sunday to Thursday. Saturdays, however, of course, are entirely devoted to worship. So, as you know, it's the day of rest for the Jewish community. It was started in 1901 and finished in 1904. Retrace. Where's so many today? Say hi. I want everybody to say hi. Anyways, look how beautiful. It's one of the beautiful most, and also a very curious fact about this synagogue, which many guys forget to mention, is that it was constructed by an Italian guy that didn't know much about the Jewish heritage. So the curious fact is that he decided to make it with the shape of a Catholic church. So it's the only synagogue in the world that has a Catholic shape. Very curious. I mean, still very curious in a way, because it's not. Some Catholic churches different, but still, it's not the typical synagogue shape. Beautiful. On the other side we have the big menorah symbol, which is in wrought iron. I want to show you in the meantime, which is probably the most interesting thing to see. Food, right? And let's go back to the main street of this neighborhood. It's the main street in the whole neighborhood, and it's all full of restaurants. And by the way, if you want to come here, of course, we have Baghetto, which is one of the largest kosher restaurants in Europe. It's a wide selection of traditional Roman and Middle Eastern Jewish dishes. Nonna Betta, Betta Grandma Betta, a cozy restaurant offering Roman kosher cuisine with a very modern twist. Say hi to me. Hello. And there you go. This is the street full of the restaurant, and I'm gonna show you some of them. And then Renato al Ghetto, which is a historic restaurant offering Roman kosher cuisine with a focus on the quality of it, the ingredients, which, by the way, when you say kosher, you already say quality. If you know a little about it, also think that all the restaurants here are kosher. All the restaurants here are kosher, and you cannot smell it, but I can. Oh my God, there's a beautiful, beautiful smell. Especially a cold fillet. But you know that the Jewish cuisine in the ghetto, it's not only about artichokes Jewish style, which is of course the main one. You know that because we've done it with Mickey in our cooking tours, the Jewish style artichokes. But also, yes, again, the fried cod fillet, which is the one I'm smelling now, anchovies with endive, pasta with sardines, potato gnocchi, chicken with peppers, eggplant pies, the famous Jewish ricotta tart, the Jewish pizza as well, which is a kind of sweet bread, and the pangiallo, which is a Christmas dessert with dried and then candied fruit. Yes, very expensive, unfortunately. Very, very expensive. Also because the research of the ingredients is very attentive. So that's also one of the reasons. But yes, unfortunately it's expensive. Look how beautiful those fried artichokes and filet. Oh my God, I would die to hit them. Let's see some of the prices. Well, actually, it's not that pricey. One fried artichoke Jewish style is €5. But in general, yes. I mean, of course, here is baguette. Is one of well, this is not one of the restaurants I mentioned before. So that's also why the prices are a little lower. The ones that I mentioned are the most typical ones. See, once it's this one, Renato al Ghetto, which is this one. You see, this one, Renato al Ghetto. Then we have Baghetto, which is also a pastry bistro. Super, super good. So these are more the ones that are the good ones. Could go for a bagel right now. I found a wonderful bakery that sold bagels in Dublin. Buy one for me as well. Buy one for me as well. As you see, we're ready. So some of the surrounding areas as well, they're very worth to see. But that will be part of a new tour. Now, end of the tour. End of the tour. Hopefully you enjoyed the tour. I did. I loved it. Luckily, it didn't rain much. And I'll see you next time for sure on Friday, but you'll get the newsletter. You'll get infos on Facebook as well about that. We'll see each other for sure on Friday. Which tour? Surprise. I will work on it this week for the new month of June, and as I said at the beginning, I'm studying this month to see if the tours are actually supported and see if I can keep going with the tours. It's a lot of it's a lot of effort on my side, I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of work and a lot of insights and work. So I need to. I would like to continue because I enjoyed it, but at the same time, I need to see if they're well supported. And talking about support and also showing you that the flag of the Jewish, and also there's a guy with, most of the people living here are Jewish as well. Very interesting tour, thank you. The links of PayPal and Buy Me Coffee are in the description below or in the description of the channel. You just click on it and you decide if you want to support with PayPal or Buy Me Coffee with however amount you want. So even a small amount can make a difference, guys. Even a small amount can make a difference. Small, plus, makes it work. And that's all. So hopefully I see you next week, and hopefully we can continue with the tours. If not, just enjoy this month, as this probably will be the last one, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, have a wonderful rest of the week, so the weekend, and see you soon. Bye bye.